Hey guys, this is Martin again from Bug Bounty Service, and today I'm going to show you another vulnerability which is called SQL injection, SQL injection, which is a very dangerous vulnerability type because it potentially allows users to retrieve contents of the database. So the web application is typically interacting with a database on the backend, and if that's the case, then if the input is not sanitized, and that means that user provided input can modify the query, the SQL query, then you have a problem whereby you effectively can steal contents of that database. And I want to show you like an example here. Okay, so we are going to try to log in with admin and password star or something, right? Just to see what's happening, invalid username and password, okay? So first couple of checks you usually do is like you can provide like a tick, okay? Just the tick value and then see what's happening. And oh, here I get a SQL state error message. So let's take a look at this in Verb, right? So I just did this post request here. Let's repeat this, send it to repeater. And which is %27. This is the URL encoded version, but what I actually put in is this. Okay, so I do this, and then I did not get an error message. Okay, so which means I need to actually URL encode it to replicate that error message, which it's still giving me a 200, but let's render it. And effectively here you can see that problem, the SQL state. So that's a SQL error, a database error, and that means that first of all it's an information disclosure because it tells me it's a MariaDB server and things like that. But effectively, that's like the first test. Like you're trying to inflict an error. You're trying to get an error back. So what you then typically do, you can do everything in Verb, but it's a very, very tedious process. So I prefer to use a tool called SQL Map, right? SQL Map, and SQL Map effectively is a tool which automates a lot of that. So I have prepared this for demo purposes, and I will go through step by step what all these things mean here. So first of all, here we can see this better. Okay, so we're doing SQL Map, which is the tool, -u, which stands for the URL, and then the actual URL or the actual path, what we want to test. So we want to test the login functionality for SQL injection. -- data, so we are supplying data as part of this SQL injection, which is a username of admin and a password of just like an asterisk, right? And then we do the dump functionality, so we instruct SQL to dump the database. And I already know that the database is called FirstBlood. So -d, capital D that's the database. That's the table, right? So -t, so that there's a table called vaccination_managers, and then there is a -c option, which is for columns, ID, username, and password. So you don't, in a bug bounty effort or in a pen test, you don't know these, so you would just leave them out. If I leave them out and just use the -- dump command, it will take ages to actually get something. So in order to speed up that process, I have already prepared this. But effectively, what you then do is you punch this into SQL Map, and then it gives you a couple of options always and stuff. And then here you can see it was fairly quick. It identified the backend database to be DBMS is MySQL. Could be Oracle or could be PostgreSQL or stuff like that, right? And then because I supplied it with the correct tables and columns and stuff like that in the right database, it immediately came back. So there's only found one user, which is a very choosy user, which is admin, and the password over here. So I can take this now, go back to my portal and log in as administrator. Okay, and here I get the cross-site scripting vulnerability because I've done another video earlier, but basically that's the vaccination management portal. And this was an example how to find a bug with around SQL injection and then how to exploit it quickly with SQL Map. Hope that makes sense, and you have a good day, and I see you in one of the next videos.